Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel, and we are here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. We're going to finish out our show tonight with a very special talk about an exhibit in the Gresham area that is very important to the community, and I think you're going to want to hear all about it. We're going to start out talking with Lynn Otto. You are the president of the Troutdale Historical Society, and Sharon Nesbitt, you are the vice president of the Troutdale Historical Society. Thanks for being here. Sharon, you've also worked years as a writer in the area, Gresham Outlook, correct? And I understand you also have a book out. Is that right?
A couple of them.
A couple of them. Okay, I knew about one. I think you worked on one of them, in fact, didn't you, Lynn?
A couple of them.
Yes. Okay. There you go.
He's my editor.
So you two know each other fairly well, don't you? And we're talking about the exhibit King of Roads, which is coming out this year in preparation of the 100-year anniversary of the historical Columbia River Highway. Tell me first, before we talk about that, just a little bit about the Historical Society. Could you maybe how long it's been around or what your mission is for the society?
He says I get mission because
Okay.
I was there.
So you've been there since the beginning?
Yes.
That's a long time.
It was his dad's and his mom's fault. And
You two do go way back, don't you?
We do.
Right. I think I've known him since he was 12.
Wow.
Anyway, Glenn Otto and then Helen thought that Troutdale should have a historical society because they saw well ahead of everybody else how suburbanization would change communities. And first thing we had to do was rescue the old jail doors out of the bottom of City Hall. So we organized in the late 60s a Troutdale Historical Society. So we've been here ever since.
I bet it's grown a lot since those days, hasn't it?
Ebbed and flowed, yeah.
Yeah. But what about now? Are people more interested in history, you think, than they used to be? Do you find, what about kids? Are they interested? You used to be a school teacher, did you not?
Correct.
Yeah, so how important do you think this is for kids to learn about the history of their community?
Without ties to the community, we lose our roots.
Yeah.
And
people move around a lot, but if
they do.
They do, but I think it's really an important thing, and I think the historical societies are really important for keeping that history alive and for making it come alive. So this exhibit that you have coming up is going to really bring it to life. So
yes.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about King of Roads. Tell us what it's about and what people can expect.
Okay, the full title is King of Roads, by way of the people, or by way of the people, because our focus is on the people who built and the people who preserved and recognized that it was going into some serious degradation and stepped up and said, this can't continue.
So when did that restoration of the highway start?
Probably early 80s would be the milestone marker there for that.
So it's a long process to restore that.
It began sort of with bicyclists, when bicycling became big, because Richard Ross, City of Gresham, was one of the first to recognize that the broken parts of the old highway could be linked up and form a bike trail.
Smart man, smart man. And the highway itself is so amazingly beautiful, and there's so much to do. I can't imagine that anybody that lives around here would not have seen it, but I bet you there are a lot of people that haven't even been up that. Do you ever find out that people haven't?
There are people who have not.
I have this story. I one time wrote something about Crown Point, and a woman called me up who was a reader of the Outlook, and she says, how do you get there? And I said, you go to Wood Village and turn right. And she says, I've never done that. I've only gone left.
Oh my goodness. Wow. It's amazing because I went on the website today for the Troutdale Historical Society. Great website, really beautiful. And I was looking at all the different things there were to do, and it made me want to do them all again. As a kid, my family took us. We went hiking, and we'd drive that old highway, and it was wonderful, and I loved it. But I haven't done it as often as I'd like to. But that really inspired me to. So I would encourage people to go to the website and check that out. But what I like to do is when I am in the gorge or someplace like that is pretend like I'm an out-of-stater or a vacationer and try to look at it with those eyes. And don't you find if you
new eyes?
I mean, that's what I like to do.
I
do that all the time. But I like to look at it as if I wasn't from this gorgeous place and really try to appreciate it. What are some of the things that you think people should see at the exhibit and really look at and learn to appreciate?
Starting with the history, and that's where we come in. And we have a fabulous new exhibit, if I do say so myself. We have worked 4 years on it, thousands of hours for some of us, and it has turned into something that I think will be in place for many, many years, just because it is rather spectacular and dominant.
This picture here that we have up here of the Malama Falls, this is from the exhibit?
Correct. That is one of the images. And you notice the bridge is just slightly different.
Yeah, it looks a little scary if you ask me.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And that did eventually collapse.
Wow.
And it was replaced by the Benson Bridge.
The Benson Bridge.
And Simon Benson, you know, for the
of the
Benson
Benson
Hotel.
Bubblers and the Benson Hotel.
Correct.
Yeah, the whole thing. Sat there and wrote a check for it.
Wow.
Isn't this a great picture?
Now that's amazing. So this is this Crown Point here? Is that what
Yes,
yeah.
Vista House.
and Vista House under construction,
Yeah. Wow.
completed about 1918.
By someone who couldn't hold the camera vertically.
Now this, you actually have this picture here.
I have this one here. That is correct. I have it right here, and I'm guessing it is the one and only of this particular image. And on the back side, it says, "Building Columbia Highway when we lived in Bonnievale."
Bonnievale. Is that what
And-
Bonneville used to be called?
I'm thinking not. I'm thinking that the woman who wrote that
Didn't
probably just spelled the best she could.
Okay.
And it says, "When Kenneth was a baby, Dad and Grandpa up there someplace, 1915.
Wow.
In fact, I can date it even more closely because it's April 17th of 1915.
So they were just building the road then.
They were taking a mountain down by hand.
Can you
Carving
imagine?
it.
Pry bars and wheelbarrows and shovels and all the hand tools, because this highway was by and large built by hand in its early stages.
So do you have some of those stories in the exhibit? Is that what people can expect to see? Because that makes it very personal. Yes.
Well, those are the best part.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
right.
And my favorite one, of course, is that there was no highway in the United States with a center line down the middle of it until this one was built.
Really? I didn't know that.
And the sheriff decided it needed a center line to keep the opposing cars apart. So he hired Mr. Nerum with a 4-inch paintbrush and a can of paint and got his hands and knees and painted down the middle.
Oh my goodness. Wow. And so we were, here, this is the area that actually was the start of all that, right?
Right.
That's correct.
Wow.
The follow-up to that story was, while he was doing that, he got hit from behind by a car.
no. Oh, no.
And he got up, and he wasn't real upset about having been hit, because I suspect that probably happened fairly often, little fender benders, so to speak. He was upset about the Prince Albert can in his back pocket because
It got smashed.
It got smashed.
Oh,
but
no.
it also became one of the first true rear-end collisions.
Real funny, Lynn.
Okay.
That was good. That was good. So tell me some of the things that we can expect at the exhibit. Now, there's several parts to this,
Correct.
right? Tell us what all is involved.
It starts with the history of the highway, going way back, some of the vision of it, moves from the vision into it being built by hand, which was a crucial component, tells some of those stories, talks about how it started sliding into oblivion as things disappeared, and it was replaced by a bigger, better, faster highway called now Interstate 84, back then I-80N. And then some of the people who stepped up to the plate, including ODOT workers, one in particular, Jeanette Close, who went on after her retirement to found the Friends of the Historic Highway.
Yeah, and they've done a lot of.
And we,
preserve that.
exactly, and they have been one of the vehicles through which a lot of the money has been funneled.
So the exhibit starts on July 18th. So if people want to see the exhibit, tell us where they're going.
They are going to our barn exhibit hall, 732 East Historic Columbia River Highway.
Okay.
If you know where the Harlow House is in Troutdale, if you go right next to it, as of today, that looks just a little bit different. Now, or I
So
should
this
say the
is the
4th
barn.
of July.
This is where the exhibit-
That is where the exhibit is.
It looks like a barn, but it's an exhibit
It
hall.
is an exhibit hall. And we're lacking a true sign out front right now because the base of it rotted away, but that's in the works. You can also expect to see a large mural on the end of it this time.
The one that was closest to us, that end?
Correct.
Oh.
So you
okay.
stop at the mural.
So stop at the mural, check it out, check out the mural, then go inside.
Yes.
Okay, so are there other things going on throughout the year? The actual anniversary is next year, correct?
Correct.
So are there other events that are going on celebrating this? And
Yes. There's been a committee that's been meeting for about the last year, and it's going to be titled The Season of Celebration. And the committee itself is led by Bill Failing, who's the President Emeritus of the Oregon Historical Society. I don't know how, but I got on that committee, and so.
Oh, but you have to put it part about what they drank at the original dedication of Malama Falls, because it was Prohibition, and it was
That's right.
It was elderberry juice, right?
I believe it was, yes.
Juice.
Elderberry juice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
So-
you couldn't have the real thing, so they toasted it in elderberry juice.
So now, this year, elderberry wine, perhaps?
Perhaps, yeah. June 7th of 2016 is the anniversary,
Okay.
and there will be some events at Vista House, some events at Malama Falls that rededicate the highway on its 100th anniversary.
What are some of your favorite parts of the highway? Do you have a favorite?
I like Shepherd's Dale.
So tell me about that.
First of all, because of the story, because Simon Benson and all the rich guys were pretty much involved in the concept of the highway, because they had the automobiles.
Right.
And the poor guys who were working on the road never thought they'd own one until Henry Ford made it possible. But the one poor guy that gave land to the scenic highway was Shepherd's Dale, George Shepherd. And he just had a farm. He was kind of an ordinary schmuck.
He wasn't a Simon Benson type. He
No,
wasn't
no. And he was, he gave what he could of his property to make the highway work. And of course, if you go into the
generous.
Shepherd's Dale Bridge, down the trail to the head of the waterfall, it's
Fabulous. Yeah.
And the view out past the bridge towards the river is also just
Yeah.
spectacular.
What about you? What's your favorite part of it?
I think I most recently have started the hikes a little more seriously.
Lots of
and-
waterfalls.
Oh,
Lots and lots of waterfalls, yeah.
Yes.
That's what I remember as a kid going up, this week we're going to go here. And we'd call mom and dad
Yep.
and we'd be hiking.
Yep.
It was fun. It was great fun. It's a great family thing to do.
It is.
Yeah. So do you have, on the website, I think there was places where you could go and help plan your trip and where to go. And I think, I was reading it, and there were things I had not heard about. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've lived here all my life, and I don't know some of these things. So it's a really good opportunity for people to
well,
find
and you're
out.
going to find in this museum exhibit that we have that you're going to find a lot of things you didn't know.
What surprised you the most when you were doing helping do the research for it?
The artistry of the road, the fact that they decided that it had to be beautiful, and they built it in an impossible place where road engineers said it couldn't go. That they wrapped the Vista House Drive around the top of the rock like a hat band.
Oh, wow.
There were so many cool things that they did then that
They would never do it today.
'Cause they
would
had guts.
They would never do it. They would never do it today. Yeah, they were brave people. Yeah,
And
with
they
a
were-
vision. With a vision.
Yeah. And they were pioneers in the materials that they used. The reinforced concrete for the bridges, and that hadn't really been used, or some of the techniques of the long spans of the bridges. Warrenite is another one.
I don't know what Warrenite is.
early paving.
Early
We
paving.
have a clump
yeah.
of Warrenite in our
Named after
exhibit.
somebody named Warren, no doubt.
Right.
Warren Brothers, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
It was the Warren Brothers company.
Do you expect to get people from far and wide to come
Yes,
to the exhibit?
absolutely.
Yeah. The whole gorge area has become a really great
Yes.
tourist destination for people, but
It
especially if they're outdoors,
Yes.
outdoorsy types, it's great. So before we run out of time, what do you think is the best thing about this exhibit, or the thing that people should really check out? What's
Oh boy, that one's tough because there are so many very cool pieces, and I've looked at every one of them, and I just am in awe of what we've put together. Quite honestly,
Then
it's
you must have done a
beautiful.
great
It's
job, I
it's a
bet.
thing
But
of
I
beauty.
think this too. I think that if you can't really appreciate that road until you see this exhibit.
I think so. Yeah,
That's an
the history of
interesting.
it.
That's an interesting take on it. So go to the exhibit, drive the road, make your stops, and like they say on the website, make your own story. Because this is the
That's right.
people that made it, and it's their stories, and then we can just carry it on for another 100 years.
That's right.
Yeah, great. Thank you both so much for being here tonight. I'm looking forward to this. I think the exhibit's going to be great fun. I plan to be there before the summer's out anyway.
Good.
So, yeah,
Good.
That's one of my goals for the summer, so I'm looking forward to that. Thanks
you.
a lot, you bet. And thanks for watching Community Hotline tonight. I hope you've gotten some great ideas of things you can do this summer, and we'll be here too, and part of the community doing everything we can. So check it out, their website on the Troutdale Historical website, and get some more information, and you too can make your own story. Thanks very much. I'm Monica Weitzel. We'll see you next week.